Hello everyone, welcome to another BDS video and to the BDS headquarters. Today we are going to be talking about our 997 that has the Hardtech 4.1 conversion at the moment. So as we spoke on the other video, at the time the engine was ready to be assembled, which has been assembled since. We have been on the dyno with it, we've done the testing. As we pulled the other engine out, it was the right time to see if the engine was actually a 3.9, and to our surprise, it was a 3.8. It was built by someone that on the invoice was stated as a 3.9, and so why we believed it was a 3.9, but it was actually a 3.8. And it was to everyone's surprise because the car was very fast as it was for a 3.8. Now, with a 4.1, the biggest difference we've noticed was the torque. So we gained quite a lot of torque, and that has shown itself on the acceleration times of the car, especially when pulling from lower RPMs. In terms of top end, it's never going to be that great because the stock intake manifold becomes quite a big restriction. Even though it's using our plenum and a bigger throttle body, it doesn't quite work to the level it has to work. On testing, we were seeing the depression inside the plenum, and we still have quite a lot of depression happening. We had before, even as a 3.8, with a 4.1 we have even more. Bear in mind, this also has our cylinder heads, and it helps on producing more torque earlier. I'm not sure if I'm going to talk about the numbers yet, but we have made peak power quite early. So we have made a very strong power number. It's very strong, and I mean very strong power number, but it made peak power at just 6,100 RPM, which is really early. Now, this shows like how restrictive the intake manifold really is at this stage. So it cannot really breathe properly to exploit the full ability of this displacement, especially with these heads. Now, we have been doing some research as well to see what's the best to offer to you guys, and we started understanding not a lot of people have the 4.1 engine builds in their cars. It's quite a niche thing, and we want to develop for more people to be able to have our product on their cars. Therefore, we are going to put the 3.8 back on our car. If it was a 3.9, it would be a bit different. We'll just leave this, but as it was a 3.8, it will also be good for us to understand better the full performance of the engine and the things we have achieved on it. If you follow us on the social media, you will see like all the testing we've been doing. And today was like the first time I driven the car properly since the engine was installed and tuned, and generally got me really nervous with the acceleration. The torque is very strong. And just to put it into perspective, how much torque the engine has, in comparing like acceleration time between 80 to 120 kilometers per hour, it is half a second faster in third gear than 997 GT3, the 415 bhp version. So it's genuinely very fast. It's doing that in third gear, which is like just a reprise acceleration, like from lower RPM, in just 2.8 seconds. So from there, you can work out roughly like the power and torque this is going to have. We are currently not making the 90 foot-pound per liter I was hoping to get, but I believe the genuine reason for that is because of the restriction of the intake system. So we've done also, when we were on the dyno tuning it, we spent a lot of time playing with the intake combinations to try to get the most out of it. And like with the intake system we had fitted on the car, like I was watching the pressure drop on the plenum as I always do to see like how much restriction we have, and I found just by having a bend straight out of the throttle body it was causing me to lose quite a lot of power because it was causing pressure drop. Now the reason why this happens is purely because of the plenum size versus the engine displacement, and like a top end it's really going to show itself. Now, like, I'm not aiming just for top end. You guys follow my work, you know I like to see a strong torque curve everywhere, and I'm always aiming to have a stronger curve everywhere. And that's the true way of making a car faster. And like the proof of that is in this car, like it is a lot stronger. So you see the acceleration time in the higher gears from lower RPM, the car is faster. But when it starts really revving itself, because it has a restriction like on the intake system, it cannot really keep on pulling itself up. And therefore the torque curve starts dropping, then it doesn't make a lot more power. It really, like, the car from the moment it makes peak power, it's just a straight line all the way to the limiter. So it is still going to be faster than if you change the gear at that point, but it's never really a massive gain from revving high. So I found on driving the car on the road, the ideal shift point on it is actually at 7.3, which would be the stock rev limiter, which would work well. We have a higher rev limiter because we were testing to see how it felt and how it progressed, but with the intake fitted on the car, it doesn't really feel the need of doing that. Even though at the moment we don't have quite the version of plenum we had when we were on Dyno, we have a different variant which we're testing, and we found it's not as good on holding the power towards the top. So from the data we gathered from the airflow meter readings, we have a lot less CFM over 5,000 RPM than with the other plenum design. Now, we're still working on a compromise because at the end of the day, it also has to look appealing. It cannot just look ugly, I should say. So this one, the one we have now, it's a version that it looks like more normal. It doesn't look like a Frankenstein piece that was just created to try a concept. It works better than the stock one. We've tested versus the stock one. We've got all the CFM data that we're going to put available on our website soon. So going back to it, the 4.1 is definitely something we want to revisit for sure. So it just generally, we rather push as hard as we can on a 3.8 because most people will have a 3.8. It will not be a 4.1. But the way we see things, it's all we have to do is dimension things slightly differently to adapt them to the 4.1. Our aim on the 3.8 is to go past the 400 bhp on the stock cams and then put cams in it and see where we land. But our target at the end is to reach around 440 to 450 bhp as a 3.8. That is the ultimate goal, but still with good driving characteristics. So the aim is to be around 100 bhp more than the normal 3.8 has, without losing any of its drivability. One other thing to mention about our plenum, the first version one, it's certain things that you cannot see on the power curve is the transient throttle, the way the car just feels far more refined as you drive. As soon as we have one fitted on a customer car, we'll let the customer leave the feedback. But as we're still developing and testing and pushing towards getting it better and improved, we will not going to be selling it till we are happy with the final design of the product. We have done also on the M97s, we've done a plenum for the 3.4 Caymans. That has been posted on our social media. It's also on our website, the results we've had on it. We actually had a very, very decent gain with it. And it's not like the plenums they are available on the market. We actually tested which one worked best. And again, we found our one to work better. The gain it reflects its, like from, I would say, 4,000 onwards, our one just outperforms the other. It's just like, it's only marginal, but it's again on torque all the way through the curve. But it starts really getting accentuated from 4,000 RPM all the way up to the rev limiter. Yeah, so this is like the updates we have on the M97 for now. And as I said, we're going to go back to the 3.8, but we're going to put our ported heads that are on this engine on the 3.8, see how it performs. Again, we have measured already the acceleration times with the 4.1 as it is on the current setup. We're going to remeasure again the 3.8 to see how it stacks up against. Once we are happy and we reach the 440 to 450 bhp on the 3.8, then, and we still remain with the good drivability, that's the main point, we will move on into potentially getting a 4.1, but that will be a more aggressive in terms of power build. We would still like to remain with good drivability, because in the end of the day, this is a road car still, and we want it to be pleasant to drive. But one thing I'm still recovering from is the way this delivers the torque, how brutal it really is. Like, it's generally, it's seriously impressive on the way it delivers its torque and the amount of torque you have from low RPM. It feels like a boosted car, but with no lag. That's the best way I can describe. It's just as instant torque. It's there, and then it's like almost like a supercharger, I should say. So the 4.1 conversion, it's something that works really well. We enjoyed the testing we've done with it, but again, I think we can make the 3.8 similar to this on its current state. We soon will have our intake manifold installed on the 3.8 as well, and we want to do that before we install the cams. So the next step will be 3.8 with our heads. We potentially are going to do some changes on the exhaust, as recently we've done some more development on exhaust, and we found other areas that we can improve in order to help developing more torque at a lower RPM. And we're going to put all of that into the new 3.8, if you like. So again, we hope to go over 400 bhp on the stock cams, and then we go from there. At the moment, we are already over 400 bhp as well. I'm not going to tell you guys by how much, but it's like, this is what I would like to do, have the 3.8 delivering the same numbers as this but on the stock cam still, and then we go from there. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this little update. If there are any questions, please leave them on the comments, and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. Thank you very much. Subscribe if you haven't, and my sincere apologies for not updating you guys for so long. I know it has been quite a while. You guys have been waiting, but we have been very, very busy. We got quite a lot of demand at the moment, so we need to just crack on with the other stuff, and we are a bit short in stuff at the moment as well. So I hope you guys have a good day and enjoy the video. Once again, thank you. Bye-bye.